Hey folks, and welcome to Composition 2 or English 1302. Today I'm just going to be giving you a brief overview of how our classroom works, as well as going over the syllabus and just giving you some information that you will need to be successful in this course. So this is our class shell, as you can see, and when you enter into our classroom, this is what you'll see. By the time the class starts on Monday, there'll be at least one announcement up. But anytime I have an announcement, you'll be able to see it as soon as you come into the class. And we're just going to go through these links on the left side of your screen so you know what each of them does. So we're in announcements right here. This is your syllabus. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and you can download your syllabus there. And we're going to download this in just a minute and look at it. This right here just has some information about me. My name is Natalie Plyman, and I'm excited to be your professor this semester. And of course, here are the two email addresses that you can use to get into contact with me. If you ever have any questions, need any help, have any concerns or anything like that, send me an email. If it's an issue that we can't address over email, what we can do is I can send you a link and we can meet in a Blackboard Collaborate session. Okay, this next link under here is your assignments link, and when you click on that, you can see essentially everything that you will need to complete all of your work this semester, and I have broken it down by weeks. I've also put the dates on there just in case you're ever confused, like am I in week 3 or in week 4? You can just check on there, and then of course your final exam, which is not available yet, but that's where you will go to take it. So let's just pick a week. We're going to click on it, and you'll see that each week is set up pretty similarly. Everything that you need for this week will be in this folder. So you can see that I have links on the left side of the screen for your reading journals and discussion boards, and you can always get to those through those links, but you can also get to them through your weekly folder. So you will begin each week with a checklist. So for example, for week 4, we're going to be talking about types of arguments. So you're going to listen to that lecture. You're going to read a section in Night. You are going to read an article called Who Are You Calling Underprivileged? You're going to watch a video. You will discuss the Night section that you read with your classmates on the discussion board. You will write about the article in your reading journal, and then you're going to do some peer editing this week. So I format this sort of checklist this way so you can copy, you can paste it, you can write it down in your planner, whatever you need to do. Just make sure that you're using that to guarantee that you have all of your assignments done for the week. And this is kind of what our weekly folders look like. This link isn't active yet, but it should be shortly, and you'll just click on this and it will take you to a video of the lecture for the week. Everything that we read in this course, I will give you either a PDF or a link, and so it says read, and here's what you're to read for the week. For this week's video, you'll just click on this link. It will take you to a video and you can watch the video. Sometimes you'll have optional material. So like, for example, this week's the video is talking about grit, and here's a test that you can take. It's like kind of a personality quiz type thing. So you can take that if you want. It's completely optional. Anytime that something is not required, I do let you know that it's optional. Each week that we read from Night, which is the book that we're going to be reading this semester, you'll have some questions, and you will just answer these questions in the discussion board, which you of course can get to by clicking on this link. Every time I ask you to read an article, you will write about it in your reading journal. These are usually pretty simple things, a summary, and then just your response about it. And then if you have an assignment for the week, or whatever assignment you do have for the week will be below that. And so this is kind of what your weeks will look like. When you go back over here to assignments, you can click on any week and see what exactly you will have to do for that week. If you know, for instance, that you're going to be out of town one week or really swamped at work or something like that, you can always work ahead too. So each of these folders contains your assignments for the week. Over here, if you want to access your reading journals outside of, your weekly folders, this is where you get to them. And then over here is your discussion board. So this first discussion board right here is a class discussion board. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, feel free to post to this class discussion board. Check it pretty regularly because you may have an answer that your classmate has asked. And so you can just go in there, kind of poke around, get to know each other. I will also be popping into that discussion board to answer any questions. This next discussion board up here is just kind of our introductions. We're doing this all online, but I do want you to kind of get to know your classmates, especially since we are going to be, discussing literature and sharing our work with each other and things like that. The next two discussions on here are from the book Night that we're reading, and then here you can also see a peer editing discussion board. We're going to peer edit our papers this semester, and this is how we are going to do it. So we'll be posting them. Your classmates will read your paper, or at least one or two of your classmates will read your paper, and then they'll comment on it, and then you can use those comments and suggestions to edit your work. So you can kind of see what our semester is going to look like through the discussion boards here. This next section or link, when you click on it, this will be your grade for the course. So you'll see discussion boards, you'll see peer editing, you'll see journal assignments, quiz, syllabus quiz, as well as your major projects. So this is kind of how you keep track of how you're doing in the course. And this first column up here, this weighted total, that's what your average is in the grade. So in the course. So you don't ever have to guess about that. You can always just click on this and see how you're doing. Okay, if we go over here to resources, I have just a collection of resources available to you. Hopefully you learned all about MLA and Comp 1, but if you need a refresher course, we'll be going over it a little bit, but then I also have these two resources for you. Here are some grammar resources if you need to just kind of refresh any grammar or sentence structure skills that it may have been a while since you addressed. Here is a online plagiarism checker if you are using quotes or outside sources and you just want to make sure that everything is cited correctly. You can use this resource right here. This next one is a video that I made explaining how to access Microsoft Word as a TCC student. You want to type everything in Word. Google Docs doesn't always format correctly, and you have access to Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, all of those for free. It's part of the tuition that you pay to be a TCC student. So there is a video explaining how to access this. This next one is just a great resource on how to evaluate sources. And we're going to be talking about that this semester too, and just kind of, going over how do we know whether something is a good source, is an academic source, things like that. And this is just a resource to help you. Excuse me. This last video up here is not a video I made, but it's a video that somebody else made about just kind of what essay formatting looks like in MLA format. So if you still have questions, you can always check this out. And then this last resource down here is something that I definitely want you to be aware of. I also put it in the weekly folders that it belongs in, but these are the instruction sheets for the three major writing assignments that you will have this semester. So you can just click on this and it will download a essay instruction sheet that just gives you all of the information about what explicitly is supposed to be in your essay. And you can see that I've broken it down into what goes into your introduction, what goes into your body, what goes into your conclusion. You have an essay checklist, requirements, a description of the assignment, all of that. So if you ever have questions about what your project should look like, you can go there and download those instruction sheets. The next thing that I have up here is Blackboard Collaborate. This is kind of like a Zoom meeting, but for Blackboard. There's no scheduled sessions, but if at any point over the semester you want to meet with me, you have questions, you need additional help, you want something clarified, I'm always happy to meet with you, and we'll just schedule a session in here. You have a course evaluation, and I'm not going to click on it because it'll take me to a different website, but this is how you evaluate the course towards the end of the semester. And then this last resource up here is Tutor 24/7. This resource is something that is also paid for by your TCC tuition. And essentially what it is it's an outside tutoring source, and you have a certain number of hours that you can use for any class that you want to get tutoring for your classes. So that's a great resource if you need additional help. Okay, let's pop over to the syllabus. We're going to download it, and we are just going to go through some things that I want you to be aware of. The syllabus will be up all semester long. You can always click on it to refresh if you have any questions or anything like that. And there's some great information in here. We're not going to go over every bit of information in here, but you always have it available to you. This right here, the email address, you can also get it in the Meet My Professor. Like I said, if you have any questions, send me an email, please. Okay, so this is on the top of page 2. This is how your final grade for the course will be figured. There are different categories here, and they're each worth different percentages. So the first one, the main one, the biggest chunk of your grade is your classwork. These are things like your discussion board, your reading journals, other assignments that you have. These are worth 30% of your overall grade. Now, most of the assignments that you will do in this class, everything from peer editing to the syllabus quiz that you will take the first week, go in this category, which is why it is the biggest. But each of these individual assignments aren't necessarily worth the most. The next 3 things that you have on this list are your 3 essay projects that we will be doing this semester. Each of these are worth 20% of your overall grade. That means that you must submit each of these projects to do well in the course. If you miss one of these projects, the highest grade that you can possibly make in the class is an 80, and that's if you make a 100 on everything else. So please, please, please prioritize these assignments. And then the last category that you have up here is the final exam. The final exam will be worth 10% of your overall grade. It will be given the last week of class, December I think it's 14th through the 16th, and it is a true, false, multiple choice, multiple answer matching type exam. I will give you a review for it in week 8 of the class, or actually you can go look at the review now so that you can kind of be studying it as you go along through the course. Just like most TCC courses, 90 to 100 will be an A, 80 to 89 will be a B, 70 to 79 will be a C, 60 to 69 will be reflected as a D, and 59 and below will be reflected as an F. But I do want to note that you have to make a C in Comp 2 for it to transfer to another school. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about your grade. The next little segment of your syllabus here is missed assignments and late work. Late work has a 15% penalty per day past the due date. So if you turn something in 1 day late, you can only make up to an 85% of the grade. If you turn something in 2 days late, it's up to a 70% of the grade, and then it just goes down from there. Try your best to get your work in on time, but if you have to submit something late, do that. The only thing that cannot be submitted late are tests. You have to take the final exam during the 2 days that it's open, and peer editing. And the reason for that is that your peers are counting on your editing remarks to then do their self-edits and submit their papers. So you can't submit those late. Now, those are just under normal circumstances. If you have an emergency, if something is going on in your life, just let me know, and you and I together can work out some sort of plan to kind of get you back on track. Okay, email policy. Please check your email. I do send out announcements pretty regularly, and even though they're on Blackboard, sometimes you want to see them in your email so you know ahead of time if something is coming. It is your responsibility to check this. And then it's also your responsibility to email me if you have a question. If there's something you are struggling with, if you need help, please send me an email. Sometimes it takes up to 24 hours for me to respond, but usually it's much quicker than that. And then you do have to email me from your TCC email account, and this has to do with privacy and FERPA laws. I can't reply to emails from personal accounts other than to say, hey, email me from your TCC account. Okay, this next section that is up here covers academic honesty and plagiarism. So there's a couple of things in this section that I want you to be aware of. First and foremost, all papers for this course must be written for this course. This means that you can't turn in a paper that you wrote for Comp 1 into a Comp 2 assignment, even if the assignments are similar. You have to write new papers. Also know that cheating, plagiarism, which is submitting another person's material as your own, or completing assignments for another person who will receive academic credit, are absolutely impermissible in a college education setting. So this includes the use of unauthorized books, notebooks, or other sources given to secure help during an exam, meaning it's against the rules to obtain a copy of the final exam ahead of time and cheat. You can't buy term papers. You can't give somebody else your paper, that sort of thing. If you plagiarize or break any of those rules, disciplinary action may be taken. If you do it in my class, you will receive an F on that assignment. Period. No ifs, ands, buts about it. It is a very serious thing. If you do it twice in my class, you will fail the class. Not only that, but every time there's a case of plagiarism, I have to report it to the academic affairs office. So just know that. But mainly why I do this is because I am interested in what you have to say, not somebody else. So don't plagiarize, don't buy papers. They're not usually well written anyways. Just make sure that you're turning in your own work. Okay. The next section up here is student responsibilities. I expect for you to ask for help when you need it. I am here to help you. I am your professor and your teacher, and I do more than just prepare these materials ahead of time. I constantly want to be engaging with you, especially if you are struggling. Your questions, your requests for help, they are not an imposition. That's what I am here for. Even though this is an online class, I do expect you to log in on a regular basis. There's some stuff that you might be able to do early, but because of the nature of the class, you still will have to log in every week and participate in discussion boards and that kind of stuff. Please turn in your assignments on time and in the format designated. If it's an assignment that you are supposed to submit in Blackboard, please submit it in Blackboard. If there's an issue with Blackboard, you can always email me your assignments. I'm perfectly fine with that in case there's some sort of technical issue going on. But don't just email me your assignments. Submit them where they're supposed to be submitted. Participate in the class discussion. In this class, we'll be doing it via discussion board. But the more you participate, the richer the experience will be. If you have a question, please check the syllabus. A lot of times the answers are in there. But if you can't find your answer, then don't hesitate to contact me. Understand that this is a college level class and has college level work. Plan to do homework. This is an 8-week class too, so it goes pretty fast. So I strongly recommend keeping up with the work, using those checklists, not getting behind. By the time you get to the end of the 8 weeks, you'll be like, wow, that was really fast. But in the midst of it, it sometimes can feel like there's a lot of stuff going on. So just make sure that you're keeping up with everything. Please do not write anything angry or sarcastic on the discussion board. Even if it's a joke, sometimes it's difficult to understand what's a joke and what's not when we're reading instead of listening to somebody's voice. Please, please, please run a spelling and grammar check on everything before you post or submit any work. Use complete words and sentences in all assignments. And I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. If you have issues, concerns, questions, if you need help, please reach out. I'm always happy to help. And then this last little section up here is your course schedule. Right above it, you can see we start on October 19th. The day to drop is December 3rd, and then the class ends on December 16th. And then this is our course schedule. This is what we will be doing this semester. And this is, if you want to print this page off, I highly recommend it, but you can kind of see, okay, this is what we're going to be talking about in class for week 1. This is what we're going to be reading. This is what you will have due. So for the first week, you're going to take a syllabus quiz. It will take you 60 seconds. It basically says, yes, I've read the syllabus, and yes, I know that plagiarism is wrong. And that's just an acknowledgement that you got this information. You're going to introduce yourself to the class. You are going to start work on your first project, which is the visual analysis essay, by creating a thesis, outline, and works cited. So that's what you will be doing the first week in class. Then you can come down here to week 2. You can see what we're talking about, what you're going to be reading, and what you're going to be doing. Most weeks until we finish the book, you will be reading a section of Night, which is a novel that we will be reading, and there's a little introductory video on the author of this novel in week 1. And then most weeks you will also have an article. So for example, or maybe 2. So for example, on week 2, you're going to be reading an article called "Offensive Speech is Free Speech If We'd Only Listen." We will finish up Night right before week 6, which will be your Thanksgiving break. No assignments on that week. Just enjoy the holiday. And then we'll come back. We have 1 week worth of work, and then you'll have a final exam review and then a final exam. So you can kind of look ahead and see what the course looks like this semester. If you have any questions, just click this button right here and send me an email. I look forward to getting to know all of you this semester and having a very successful Comp 2 class.